Hi, I'm Heather Biedermann, and welcome to the Agorist Writers Workshop Presents. This is a story time for revolutionary thinkers, and I was asked to share something from the Clarion Call series. And there are multiple volumes of short story anthologies with a different theme in each book. And the one I chose this time is about, let's see, from the Clarion Call Volume 3 Unbound edition. So it's a 2018. If you see the dragons on the cover, it's a good hint about the fantasy element in each of the stories. And the story that I chose to read today is called The Seed of Fate. And this is back in 2018. And the picture that I have up on the screen is about the golden apples. And the golden apples play a part in this story. So if you're interested in what I have to read, you can go and read the entire story on the Unbound anthology of Clarion Call Volume 3. And the reason I chose this story today is because with all of the coronavirus and our society being what it is today, I thought this story actually had a really good element that fits in with what's going on in our lives today. So with that, I'm going to switch to full screen. And let's see, there we go. So there's the cover, Unbound. Over the next few days, neighbors stopped in to see what all the fuss was about. Some marveled at the new tree, but many came by to try a bite of magic apples. Ness even bought a basket of apples around to the sick and elderly neighbors in the area. Soon everyone was full of energy, and the whole community was bustling and joyful. However, not everyone was happy. Word got back to the mayor, Edmundus' stately manner, and he was not pleased that he had not been having the opportunity to taste of the magic apples. So the mayor had stormed over to Halling Farm to see the tree for himself. He knocked at the door of the cottage, and Ness answered. "Why haven't you or your uncle come to tell me about these apples?" asked the mayor. Ness shrugged. The mayor turned towards the tree, and he looked up to inspect it. There was not a lot of fruit left to be picked. Most of the ones that were left were up high. "Where have all the apples gone?" asked the mayor. This time Uncle Lude walked up and answered, "They are for anyone who needs them. They can help the sick and those without energy. We trust our neighbors to only take what they need. In another month, more will grow, and they can have another one at that time. There is more than enough for everyone here in Moss Hollow." The mayor scowled at this, but when Uncle Lude handed him one of the magic apples, he brightened up. "Ah, that is better," said the mayor as he bit into the apple. He closed his eyes and could start to feel the apple working its magic. "This is really important, Halling," said the mayor. "People will come from all over for the healing magic of the apples. We can't just leave these out in the open. Someone could steal the apples, or even worse, try to steal the whole tree. As I constantly look out for the well-being of everyone in this community, I have an idea that we should protect this precious tree and the bounty of the apples. I will have my men come and build a protective wall, an enclosure around the tree for our own protection of it, of course. There will be a secured gate. No one shall have access to the apples without my knowing about it." Uncle Lude tried to argue with the mayor, but it was too late. The mayor was excited, and he scurried off to find men to help build his wall. When Hollings woke up early the next day to work on the farm, they found several men who worked for the mayor already building the wall around the tree. Ness stepped over the beginnings of the wall and climbed the ladder next to the tree. He picked 6 apples and that he could take over to sick neighbors later in the day. He stepped back over to the base of the wall and shook his head. He didn't want this wall. It was their property, after all. He couldn't understand how the mayor thought this was a good thing at all. If people needed the apples, they would just ask if they could have one. He shrugged and thought that as long as they could get to the apples whenever they needed them, it would be inconvenient, but it would still be acceptable. After a few more days, the wall was finished. There was an iron gate put in with a sturdy lock on it. Ness walked up to the gate and tried to open it with a rattle. He yelled out to his uncle, who started to feed the chickens nearby. "Uncle Lou, did you know that they put a damn lock on the gate?" "Do you have a key?" asked Ness. "I didn't get a key from the mayor yet," said Uncle Lou, walking over to take a look. The two men were grumbling about not being able to tend to the tree when from behind, Mayor Edmundus and one of his town constables walked up. "How do you like the wall?" asked the mayor. "Isn't it quite impressive? I bet it keeps out all the thieves and protects the tree for the well-being of our community." "We would like to have a key to this gate so we can tend our tree and make sure the elderly and sick get the apples right away when they need them," said Uncle Lud. "Our tree?" The mayor laughed. "This is the city's tree now. We obviously need to protect it to make sure the apples are shared first with those most important people in the town whose continued health is vital to the success of our community. Of course, the sick and the elderly will also be a priority, but we need to be thoughtful about how to disperse the apples." "You have no right to take away our property," shouted Ness, who was suddenly pushed away from the mayor by a constable. "It isn't yours to take. This isn't right." The mayor ignored Ness' protests and started to turn back to Uncle Lud. "I will have constables guarding the tree, and if you need to go inside the wall to take care of the tree, they will be able to unlock it for you. Of course, they will make sure that you don't take any apples out with you. That would be unfair to everyone else in the town." Uncle Lud nodded and put his hand on Ness' shoulder to quietly calm him. The mayor turned and walked off. The constable took his first shift next to the gate. "This can't stand," Ness quietly said to Uncle Lud as they walked away from the wall. "It is our tree, and they stole it from under us." Neighbors came to get apples like they had been used to doing, but suddenly they found they were being turned away. To get the apples, they had to go to the mayor's house one day a week, and he would listen to the reasons why they wanted them. He would decide who would get them and who should be turned away. This went on quietly for almost a month, and the people became resigned to accepting this as how things were to be. And that's a good stopping point. It goes on, obviously. I hope that you consider, maybe being a part of writing for Clarion Call. I think it was one of the best things I've ever done, and I really love working with the people who make this possible. And if you would like to hear more, come visit the Agorist Writers Workshop website or Facebook group and ask about it. We can help you out. And it's really fun and it's wonderful. The first time you ever see anything that you've written in print, it will change your life. So have a great day, and thank you for listening to my story.